The Kidron Valley, just east of Jerusalem. For years, Jesus and his disciples have crossed this valley to a garden of olive trees. It is a place of quiet prayer, a familiar sanctuary under the stars. But tonight, the air is heavy. He knows all that is about to happen. Even now, the betrayer is on his way. Judas knows the place. It was their meeting ground. And he has not come alone. Through the ancient trees, a line of light flickers and grows. The sound of marching feet and clinking metal breaks the stillness of the night. Judas arrives with a detachment of Roman soldiers and officials from the chief priests and Pharisees. They carry torches, lanterns, and weapons, their faces illuminated in the shifting firelight, a grim procession come to shatter the peace. They form a line, a wall of steel and suspicion before Jesus. He steps forward, his composure a stark contrast to the armed tension. He asks them, "Whom do you seek?" The answer rings out in the darkness, "Jesus of Nazareth." He looks directly at them, his voice steady and clear, filled with an authority that transcends the moment. "I am." The words are simple, yet they carry an immense power. As the sound echoes through the olive grove, the soldiers and officials draw back. They stumble and fall to the ground, overwhelmed by a presence they cannot comprehend. Once they have recovered and are back on their feet, Jesus asks them again, "Whom do you seek?" And again they say, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus stands between the armed cohort and his frightened disciples. "I told you that I am," he says, gesturing toward his friends. "If you seek me, let these go." In this moment of betrayal, his concern is for their safety, a shepherd protecting his flock. It is the fulfillment of his own words. Of those the Father had given him, he would lose none. Suddenly, Simon Peter, ever impulsive, draws a sword. In a flash of misguided loyalty, he strikes out, cutting off the right ear of the high priest's servant, Malchus. But Jesus immediately intervenes. This is not the way of his kingdom. He turns to Peter, his voice firm but not angry. "Put your sword away." Then, looking up as if to the heavens, he asks a question that seals his own fate. "Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me?" Violence cannot advance this kingdom, only obedience will. The soldiers then move in. They seize Jesus and bind him. The rough ropes tighten around his wrists, a king in chains. They lead him away from the garden, through the narrow, sleeping streets of Jerusalem, the light from their torches dancing on the stone walls. His disciples scatter into the shadows, leaving him alone with his captors. Their first stop, the house of Annas, the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest that year. Outside in the courtyard of the high priest's house, a fire has been lit against the cold night air. Peter, drawn by an anxious need to see what will happen, has followed at a distance. He manages to enter the courtyard. As he stands warming himself by the flames, a servant girl at the gate peers at him. "You aren't one of this man's disciples, are you?" she asks. The firelight flickers in Peter's eyes, revealing his fear. Trapped, he denies it. "I am not." Inside, Annas questions Jesus about his disciples and his teaching. Jesus' response is direct and bold. "I have spoken openly to the world," he says. "I always taught in synagogues or at the temple, where all the Jews come together. I said nothing in secret. Why question me? Ask those who heard me. Surely they know what I said." His words are not a defiance of authority, but a defense of the truth. For this, an official nearby strikes him in the face. The sound cracks through the room. Jesus looks at the man who struck him, his voice unwavering. "If I said something wrong, testify as to what is wrong. But if I spoke the truth, why did you strike me?" Back in the cold courtyard, the others, warming themselves by the fire, turn to Peter. "You aren't one of his disciples too, are you?" Again, Peter denies it. "I am not." But then, a third voice cuts through the murmur, sharp and accusing. It's a relative of Malchus, the man whose ear Peter had cut off. "Didn't I see you with him in the garden?" The accusation hangs in the air. For the third and final time, Peter denies it, his voice strained. "I am not." And immediately, a rooster crows, shattering the dawn and Peter's heart. As the first light of morning bleeds into the sky, Annas sends Jesus, still bound, to Caiaphas the high priest. From there, he is led to the Roman Praetorium, the governor's headquarters. It is early morning. The Jewish leaders stop outside, refusing to enter the pagan building to avoid ceremonial uncleanness before the Passover. So the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, comes out to them. Pilate takes Jesus inside the praetorium, away from the accusing crowd. The room is stark, filled with the cold light of day filtering through high windows, illuminating columns of stone. Alone with the bound man from Galilee, Pilate asks the pivotal question, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answers with a question of his own, probing the source of Pilate's inquiry. "Is that your own idea, or did others talk to you about me?" Pilate scoffs, "Am I a Jew? Your own people and chief priests handed you over to me. What is it you have done?" Jesus' reply shifts the ground beneath the governor's feet. "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jewish leaders, but now my kingdom is from another place." "You are a king, then," Pilate exclaims. Jesus stands before him, a captive radiating a quiet, unshakable sovereignty. "You say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice." The light seems to gather around him, a soft golden rim against the harsh stone, illuminating the face of truth itself. Pilate, a man of worldly power and cynical politics, turns away. He walks back toward the daylight flooding the entrance, the weight of Jesus' words following him. He tosses a question over his shoulder, a question that has echoed through the ages, a question he doesn't wait to have answered. What is truth? Pilate goes back out to the waiting leaders and the growing crowd. "I find no basis for a charge against him," he declares. "But it is your custom for me to release to you one prisoner at the time of the Passover. Do you want me to release the King of the Jews?" He presents them with a choice. On the balcony, two figures are contrasted: Jesus, quiet and composed, and another prisoner, Barabbas, a known rebel. The crowd roars back its decision, a unified, chilling shout. "No, not this man, give us Barabbas." The verdict is sealed. The torches that lit the path of betrayal have guttered out in the starkness of the new day. The ropes that bound the hands of a king now lie coiled on a table, an artifact of the night's injustice. In the garden, the dew settles on the olive leaves, a silent witness to the events that transpired. A kingdom not of this world has been judged by this one. But the truth, though chained and condemned, remains unbound. Thanks so much for watching. If this story moved you, please consider subscribing to our channel for more movies that retell these profound scriptures. We'll see you in the next one.